What's up, everybody? I have returned once again with another head-scratching story that is going to blow your mind. This one is going to be another famous case that David Paulides talked about all the time on Coast to Coast AM. This one is going to be about Charles McCullar. Now, this young man disappeared back in 1974, 1 year before I was born. So, I didn't know anything about this stuff, of course, at that age because I wasn't around. Even after that, I still didn't know anything about anything like this because I was just a little kid. So that's obvious. But like I said, it's going to be a great couple of stories I got for you. I got another one for you, too. Her last name is Kunst. Can't remember the name right now, but I got one for you. Oh, Rosemary Kunst. He's talked about her too. Like I said, I want to try and get into the stories that make no sense whatsoever, where they just go into a place and then just poof, they just disappear, for whatever the reason that, a reason that no one even knows about. And it just makes you wonder all the time, what did they see when they disappeared? Was it something ominous? Was it something scary? Was it aliens? Was it the fact that they walked into another dimension and didn't even realize it because of some invisible wall of energy that blocks our reality from that reality? Who knows? Could he have walked into the Matrix, or could he have been coming from the Matrix? I don't know, but that's what we're going to find out today. I mean, it's not going to be in the story, but I got my facts, of what could actually have happened to this young man and that woman. So without further ado, we are going to get started. All right. In 1974, 19-year-old Charles McCullough left his home state of Virginia. I lived in Virginia too. I lived in Reston, Virginia though. Man, that's a lot of weird stuff to be going on. I actually saw a slave shack sitting on the side of the road one time when I was heading into Herndon, Virginia. But a lot of weird things happen over there. I've had UFO experiences out the ass in that place. I saw stuff flying over my head all the time. I never experienced the whole going into a national park thing, where people disappear. Sometimes people disappear in your backyard. And that was a story about a young girl named, I think her name was Katie. I'm not sure. I got to look her up again. But I'll get to that at a later date. But anyway. Okay. All right. Let's see. His home state in Virginia and for an extended vacation, a hitchhiking and bus riding tour of the country. Leaving his beloved Volkswagen at home and taking his camera equipment, he hit the road. Charles was a dedicated photographer, and he had some really good stuff. Good for 1974, anyway. But late January of 75 found McCullough in Eugene, Oregon, staying for a few weeks with a friend. Then he left on a short excursion, hitchhiking to Crater Lake. Crater Lake is a very, very ominous place to be because a lot of disappearances happen in it. And obviously it's been happening for decades. It just goes back to 1974, probably goes back even further than that. Who knows? And I'm pretty sure they got filed information on people that have vanished in that area. So hopefully I can find some more, in that era of disappearances. All right. Okay, hitchhiking to Crater Lake to take winter photos. It kind of reminds me of this other guy that I heard that was doing the same thing. He was going to a lake to take some really good photos, but this happened like in the early 1950s. Can't remember them. I think I did a video on him maybe 2 years ago. From David Paulides' very first book, The Western U.S. Okay, let's see. Now, planning to come back to the friend's house 2 days later after he took the photos, in that area where he was going to. He never did. Now, the FBI got involved. Charles's father dropped everything and flew to the West Coast and spent the whole summer camped out at Crater Lake, searching for his son. No trace of him was ever found. No trace, that is, until a full year later, at the end of the season. Two hikers took a wrong turn and ended up in a little traveled canyon, where they found an old dirty ripped backpack and a car key in the side pocket. the key to McCullough's Volkswagen back home. Okay, now here's the thing. You left your car home, but you had the car key in the side pocket of a backpack. Why would you take your car key if you're leaving the car at the house in another state? I'm still trying to figure that part out. But maybe he forgot and it was in the backpack for safekeeping. I don't know. But, you know, it is what it is. Okay. Now, park rangers got a horse patrol out there right away. And after just a few hours, they found what was left of Charles. And here's where the story gets a little weird and more than a little sinister. Now, Charles's body was found a full 12 miles from the trailhead, and on the day he disappeared, there were 7.5 feet of new snow on the ground. Now, if you've ever broken trail in skis skis or snowshoes, you know what's wrong with that picture. How did this kid, of all people, cover 12 miles in 102 inches of fresh powder? It's simply not humanly possible. See, there's those words again. Humanly possible. That means that something happening. Something carried him there. The question is what? Maybe he was abducted by aliens. They did something to him, and when they were finished with the man, they dropped his bones in an area that was 12 miles away from where he was last located, which was in the area where he was supposed to have been taking pictures. Now, I talked about this a while ago when I told you about Derek Tyler. And he was talking about when they discovered the Roswell crash spaceship. They went inside, and there was like a pool or a bath of body parts, like soaked in a lot of blood. And apparently they were going to feast on those body parts because he said that these body parts were of some of the naval men that worked on that excursion to retrieve that spaceship. Now, with this kind of case and the fact that all they found was his bones, maybe, just maybe, these same types of aliens or even reptilian aliens which is what I talked about in that video when I talked about Derek Tyler. They devour human bodies or humans alone, but preferably little children and babies. Now, do they devour grown men and women? Maybe so, or maybe it's just these gray aliens that feast on human flesh. He said the same thing about them too. And obviously they can't eat the bones, so they leave the bones behind, or whatever they can eat, they eat, and then they leave whatever's left, like the little tibia that was found inside his sock. But anyway, okay. Charles's body. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, it's simply not humanly possible. That much powder would be impossible for even a snowmobile to get through. Now, the second weird thing was the condition of the skeleton. There were foot bones in the socks, but Charles's jeans were empty except for the broken off ends of his shin bones that was sticking up. So that would mean everything except for what was found was still in the area. It was still inside the clothing, including his pants. So his shin bone, meaning his knee, like the bones that's attached to the kneecap, was actually sticking up. But that's all they found inside the pants. It's almost like he melted into his pants. Because David Paulides made this a point because of what one of the park rangers said at the time when they found him. It was as if, like, let's just say you were standing up, right? And you were just in your pants, in your socks. And all of a sudden, you just melted into your pants. Therefore, the pants just fall flat. You know, it's like holding them up, you know, like this, so that you know you can actually open up the rim of the pants. You know, where you stick your legs in. You hold it up like this here, having them open to where you can actually look through the pants to see through the pants leg, and you just let them fall, or you just hold on to it until the pant legs, they layer on top of each other. They fold and flatten on top of each other. As you bring them down like this, and then you just let them go, and then the opening portion of the pants where you stick your legs in falls right on top of that. That's kind of like how it looked, because he said that it was almost like Charles McCullar just melted into his jeans or his pants, and the rest is history. Wow, weird as hell. It's crazy. Okay. Now, where was I? I gotta stop doing this every time I read something. I talk about it, I always lose my place. Okay. The skeleton broken up ends. Okay, here we go. Now the jeans were unbuttoned. Now see, that's another thing. And the rest of him was gone, as if melted away. They found the crown of his skull about 12 feet away. Nothing more. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the part where the jeans were unbuttoned. What in tarnation could make this young man unbutton his jeans? Could be because he might have been trying to take a piss in that area. Because think about it, you out in the wild, so there's no bathrooms, there's no porta potties, none of that stuff. So you got all of nature to let loose, whether you're trying to take a crap or you're trying to take a piss. So I'm thinking maybe he unbuttoned his pants. But see, okay, this is what a man does. It's not so much a female, but what a man does. A man only unbuttons his pants if he's going to take a crap somewhere. If he's going to take a piss, he unzips his pants. And, you know, he does his business. So I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, he was trying to take a crap somewhere. And there were some bushes, so it wouldn't be out in the open where people could probably step on it if they taking a jog in that same area. Maybe he was thinking about that. Maybe. But David Paulides even says, why would you unbuckle your pants? Because they were completely unbuckled. So I would think that's what it was. He was trying to take a crap, and he met with an unfortunate end. He saw something. He didn't have time to pull his pants up, and he was probably trying to run. They caught him, or whatever it was that caught him, and they took him and ate him alive and left tiny little bits of bones, behind. But still, think about it. It's almost like they deliberately placed the bones in these areas, in the socks and the shin bones inside the pants, after they layered the pants down on top of a log. So they took the body, they devoured the body, and left nothing behind but small bones in the foot and in the knee and the cranium, but everything else was gone. He was eaten alive. To me personally, that's what I think. He was eaten alive by something. It was not of anything of this earth. I can guarantee you that, because there is no known animal that I know they can do that. They would have left something behind. There would have been blood splatters everywhere. There would have been something. There would have been chunks of meat from the muscle or from the guts. There would have been brain matter everywhere. But everything on him was gone. Was just gone. There was nothing left but bone. There wasn't even any indication of what happened to him on the bones. I would think that there would be some blood on the bones because they're inside the body. So that means there's going to be blood on the bones. But there wasn't. It was wiped clean. So who knows what could have happened? That's, like I said, that's anybody's guess. And, I got plenty of them. So, and they all get out. They all out there. Trust me. There's nothing logical about what I be saying, because there's nothing logical about any of these cases. So it is what it is. Okay. Now. We got here foot bones inside. Now granted, people do weird things when they're hypothermic, like decide they're too hot and strip, or maybe even pull off their boots and slog around in the snow in their socks. Okay, first of all, David Paulides always said that. Well, he knows how long you have to be out there in the elements in order for you to go hypothermic. Now, he would tell you in certain cases that he wasn't out there long enough for him to go out hypothermic. Now, see, he wasn't found until a year later. And So I would imagine at some point he may have suffered from hypothermia if he'd been out there that long. So that rules out the idea of them actually saying that he suffered from hypothermia, but he really didn't. Can't really say that because he was out there for a full year, so we don't really know what could have happened to him. But simple, because like, okay, think about it. All the people that were found in bodies of water, they would always say the same thing about them, saying they suffer from hypothermia, but you went in the water long enough for you to suffer from hypothermia. So in his case, that could have been what it was. Then again, maybe not. But yeah, they use that theory or that accusation just so they can have something to say to the families, because they don't know what happened to this young man. Anything that you get from the evidence is so weird, they don't want to touch it. So they just say, oh, he suffered from hypothermia, or he died from this, he died from that. That's all they're going to say, because they don't want to touch it no more, because it's too weird for them to even try to fathom. So they just say, you know what, I'm just going to say this and just drop it. That way it'll put the families at ease, and that's the end of it. That's what happens. That's what they say. But anyway, also the fact that only his feet were there isn't too surprising. Food is rare in the high Cascades in wintertime. Charles probably got a whole family of foxes through the winter, maybe. But the two really unusual things here are the location and the missing clothes and boots. And see, that's another thing. Missing clothes and boots. In a lot of these cases, they are partially clothed. They said all they found was his pants and the socks. Everything else was gone. The boots and the shirt. So what would they need with the shirt as well as the boots? The boots, I would imagine they would leave them there because they last very long in the wilderness for years to come, maybe 5 years or more, maybe 20, I don't know. But like I said in the last video, it could be because it would make them very hard to get away, knowing that they would be barefooted. So knowing that he didn't have any shoes, he knew he was probably going to get cut up. His feet was going to start hurting if he stepped on a rock, or he may stumble over something and break his foot. Especially if he didn't have nothing to, cover his foot with. Especially, if you didn't have work boots, and work boots will keep you from getting hurt. You may sprain your ankle a little bit, but you won't get cut. You won't hurt your foot too much because your feet are too vulnerable in that area. You don't have anything to cover them up with. So, with that being said, why would they take the boots? What would they want with the boots? Now, like I said, they may have been trying to keep him from getting away, or they just did that to mess with our heads. I don't know. But I would think they would have left the boots there, just because what would you need with the boots? It's not like you can wear them. I mean, the guy was young. He was like, I think in his teens, or he was early 20s maybe. Anyway, okay. Now, but the two really unusual things here is location, missing clothes and boots. All right. Okay. And one more thing. Charles was there to take photographs, right? Now, he had some pretty sweet equipment for 1974 at that time. None of it was ever found. No money was found. No money was found either. Now, if only those broken off shin bones, could have talked to us. What would they say? What do you think they would say? I bet they'd say something like this. I hitchhiked a ride with a creepy guy who stole my camera equipment and money and shot me in the head. Could be possible. Then, one clear day in the dead of winter, he hauled my body into the remotest part of Crater Lake, took my shirt and my boots off, and set me up on a log and left. Another possibility. Figuring the animals would destroy the evidence by spring. And hey, I guess it worked. I mean, because, the cops ruled, his death to be from natural causes. they do that all the time because they don't have any other reason to say that, because all the evidence points to something very strange that happened to him. They don't do strange. They do straight up facts. That's why they're cops. That's their job, to get facts together to build a case. Then you can solve the case. Then you can tell everybody what happened. But you can't get that from all this stuff, because all you finding is bones. And the fact that you ain't find nobody but the pants and no shirts and no shoes, that alone is strange and it's weird. Why would that even happen? How could that happen? Why would a serial killer would just do something like that? Serial killers don't do that. They kidnap the person, they tie them up, they do whatever, they kill them, and bam, that's it. They do whatever they have to do to make sure they don't ever get caught. And some people do it for years on end until finally one day they let their guard down and they get caught. They leave some evidence behind. And next thing you know, they're in jail for the rest of their life for killing all these people. But that's not the case with this here. Serial killers ain't got nothing to do with this. Pedophiles ain't got nothing to do with this. Murderers. Anything. None of that stuff has anything to do with this. But what does? Nobody knows. That's the biggest problem. Nobody knows, but we sit here and come up with theories and factual theories all we want. But if there's no clarification, no validation on why this is happening, or if that happened, if that happened at all, that's something we don't need, people. That's why I'm gonna keep saying it until we get it right. We don't need validation from them, because they're gonna lie about it until the day we die. You probably won't even find out what really happened to these people until we actually reach them pearly gates, because that's where the truth will lie, up there. We're never gonna get it from down here, unless somebody was to, leak all this information to us. You got people that leak UFO information to us all the time, but they don't never leak this kind of information, because they know that if they try, they're gonna either lose their job or they're gonna die. So it is what it is. But anyway, now his dad doesn't buy none of this stuff at all. But yeah, okay. So that's one theory. But really, nobody will ever know, except maybe if he's right. Maybe one person knows. And the only person that really does know is Charles McCullar. But he's not here. He could be sitting somewhere on a parallel earth or another dimension, sipping Mai Tais on the beach, married to the perfect woman. And the reality there is probably so much more different than our reality. He probably lives in a reality or in another dimension where the government doesn't keep secrets from everybody. Or it could be another dimension or parallel earth where aliens work right along with humans. Could be a parallel earth where technology was given to us by Nikola Tesla and was never shunned by the government and the people. He probably won the energy war between Thomas Edison and the other guy. Who knows? Like I said, that's just a theory of mine that I came up with, a factual theory, because of parallel Earths. Parallel Earths are mirror images of our own. So what we don't decide to do here ends up being a fact and a reality to that Earth. So if you fart here but you don't want, if you trying to fart but you don't fart, you're gonna fart over there. Or if you decide that you don't want this job but you get this job, the job that you didn't want ends up being the job that your counterpart got, your doppelganger. So, weird stuff, but very, very true. Very true. All right, people. That's enough about that story. I got another one for you. This one's going to be about that Kuntz lady I was telling you about. Punch that up real quick. All right. Now, once again, this story is going to be about Rosemary Teresa Kuntz. Kuntz. That's not Kuntz like, Dio Kuntz. That's spelled with a K-U-N-T-Z. This is K-U-N-S-T. Okay. So now this woman here, she went missing around August 18th of 2000 from Siskiyou County, California. Tongue tied. Anyway, now the classification of her disappearance is lost, injured, or missing. Now her date of birth is November 1st, 1929. She was at the age of 70 years old when she disappeared. She is about 5'3" and 122 pounds. The distinguished characteristics is, of course, she's Caucasian, gray hair, hazel eyes. Kunst has numerous surgical scars. Now, the clothing and the jewelry that she was wearing at the time was a blue fleece shirt, hiking boots, and a blue baseball cap. Now, the details about her disappearance is as follows because of what they probably could gather as far as what she was doing at the time before she disappeared. Now, Kunst, she resided in San Anselmo. That's a weird place, or weird name that is. Okay, San Anselmo, California, at the time of her disappearance. In August of 2000, she attended a weekend retreat hosted by the Earth Circle Association in Quartz Valley, California. She and the other guests camped in the Marble Mountain Wilderness, 20 miles from Etna, California, at 9 a.m. on August 18th of 2000. Kunst stayed behind in camp while her companions went on a hike for the day. Excuse me. She apparently decided to go for a short hike by herself that afternoon. Now, that's the biggest mistake of all. I told y'all many times, you don't want to ever do that. Okay, now she was carrying only a sandwich, some trail mix, and her journal at the time. She never returned to camp and has never been heard from again. Now, she was last seen at the south end of Spirit Lake walking towards a ridge. Now, the Spirit Lake area is very steep and rugged with a lot of timber and boulders. Investigators believe Kunst became lost. Her family says she was not despondent at the time of her disappearance and has no history of leaving without warning. Extensive searches turned up no sign of her besides a tuft of her hair, which was found caught in some heavy brush south of Spirit Lake. Her case remains unsolved. Okay, now this is the preliminary worded version of what happened. From what eyewitness accounts said, she was at this area, this campground, and it was an area that was surrounded by that was inhabited by a lot of Native Americans. And like I said, her family, the people that she was with, they wanted to go off on a little, excursion. She decided to stay behind because she wanted to do some excursion. She wanted to do some excursion. She wanted to do some hiking of her own. She asked the person at the concession stand to make her a little small lunch because she wanted to take a small hike and come back before it got dark. He said okay. Now, she asked the little Native American boy if he wanted to come with her on the little picnic. He said no. Okay, so I'm thinking that little boy knew what actually goes on out there because I heard David Paulides talk about some of the Native Americans that he's actually known in the past who would say that they knew not to go in certain areas. They always said stay near the fire. Don't go beyond the fire because that's their territory and we respect them enough not to do that. And I think he was talking about Bigfoot, but I'm pretty sure there was some other things that was happening out there too that he knew about. That's why he said no. So she goes off by herself and she never comes back. So your guess is as good as mine as what happened to her. All I know is that you never know what they saw when they was out there. You never know who they saw, where they were going to, what they walked into. It's just so many questions about what could have happened to her. It's just mind-boggling, and that's like the $1 million question right now. What happened to her? Where did she go? Did she walk through a dimensional portal and end up in another dimension somewhere where she had to live her life, against her will? She had no way to get back, or they had no way to get her back here because wormholes are actually an infinite number of slots that open up to different worlds and different Earths. Okay, there's no way of controlling their journey back. So when you go through one wormhole, that's it. You can't get back because it'll close right in behind you. They don't stay open for long. Now, if you were to go in and get sucked in, you wouldn't have no way to reverse yourself to get back because it's only going in one direction. So that might have been what happened to her, which is the reason why she's never been found. Now, this is another thing, though. One of the Native Americans said that the day that she disappeared, he saw two eagles overhead flying away. Now, in Native American folklore or legends, they say that that's an indication that she was with her husband. Now, because he died, I think, in a car accident way before she ended up going there, and he came to get her in eagle form. So that could have been another thing. She was with him now. But how she got to that state or that stage in her life as an eagle, I don't know. What could have happened to her to where she ends up being escorted to heaven by her husband, in the form of an eagle? How did she die in the first place? Did she come back as an eagle? Or did he appear to her and say that the only way we could be together is if you have to give up your humanity and become an eagle, or become a spirit eagle and fly off to wherever with me? I don't know. Is that possible that something like that can happen? Can you go from being a human to an eagle by choice if someone gave you that opportunity? I don't know. There's a lot of things about this world and about legends and just all these mystical situations that we think of as just nothing but stories or myth, but it could be an actual reality. I mean, that's a reincarnation of the quick kind, because normally reincarnation happens after you die and you come back to Earth as an animal or another person. But she did it within seconds. She somehow died and she came back as an eagle and flew off into the wild beyond with her husband. Right, but like I said, that's what that Native American said. That's an indication of her being with her husband now. And they said that she was. They gave an indication on where she could have been in order for that to happen. I think it was called Devil's Crevice or something like that. It wasn't Spirit Lake. It was a mountain area. I think it was called Devil's something. But anyway, but yeah, that's my time on that story. I'm gonna give you some more good ones, two of them as a matter of fact. So I told you, I'm always gonna have some good ones. I got more coming, so stay tuned. Keep your eyes peeled to my channel. Keep them ears open so you can hear my notifications coming in. Okay, because I got another one coming to you. And okay, now also when I upload this video, when it actually appears on YouTube, I'm going to delete it because I'm going to put the edited version up there first. So if you start looking at it before I delete it and it just drops while you're looking at it, that's because I just deleted it. Okay, I don't want to have the unedited version and the edited version in the same space. I'd rather just have that one video up there so that you can watch that one along with the introduction to the video. So like I said, if you see it before I can delete it, don't get discouraged. I only did that because I'm trying to edit it. I'm trying to edit the video and put that version up there. Because like I said, it doesn't make any sense to have two videos of the same video up there. Two videos of the same content. One is the edited version, one is the unedited version. So that's what I do. So I apologize to the first viewer on that last video because I deleted the video, when I saw that I had one view on there. So that's what I'm about to do with this one. So don't fret. Coming back with some more. I will see you guys later because I am going to chill out. It's the evening, it's my day off, and it's my days off are running right into my vacation. I can't wait. I'm gonna be having me some fun with my mom. Me and my mom just, because me and my mom, we like to, kind of go places together. She's all I got now since my dad passed away, in 2010. So, I like to try to spend as much time with her as possible. So, whenever she said that she wants to go somewhere, for a vacation, I'm right in behind her because, like I said, I love hanging out with my mom. I like to spend as much time with her as possible. We have our little moments because she's a Pisces and I'm a Sagittarius, so we clash sometimes, but that still don't mean I don't love my mom. So, just so you guys understand that. So, anyway, I gotta go, guys. I'll probably post another one sometime tonight, maybe, or I'll probably just do another one tomorrow because, like I said, I'm gonna be out of work from now until the 30th. So, like I told you before, I may take my laptop with me on my vacation. I may not. I'm not sure. I still haven't decided yet, but I will let you guys know at a later time before I go on vacation. Or if you see me post a video, like say on a Friday, which is when my vacation starts, then my travel version of my vacation starts. I will be traveling at that point. Then you will know. So, stay tuned. I'll be back very soon. So, peace out, guys. Have a great night.